If you watch my previous project, the video I released last week, the entirety of that video was to give you a clear understanding of what I'm trying to achieve with these projects. And as I mentioned in that video, learning is the core thing that I want to focus my energy on, and which brings me to the point of this video. I want to take you back to the basics of learning, which I would say it's reading. And reading being the core of all learning. Honestly, when I was making this video, I had hesitant steps, and the reason for this, reading is one of my weaknesses, and this video was only going to point where my weaknesses are. And since I'm friends with the internet, I saw no challenge of me opening up and say that I can't read books. I can't read hard copy books, and the reason for that, I really don't know. And the only solution I came up with, working around this and how I've been able to acquire information has been through other mediums, which is audiobooks. I've been reading a lot of audiobooks. I don't know whether listening is reading, but nowadays people say it's reading. So I've been reading lots of audiobooks and podcasts and video. So these are the mediums that I've been leaning towards, if it comes to consuming information and learning. That's the only focus I had. I honestly enjoy these mediums, and I don't think there's anything that can replace them. When it comes to audiobooks, podcasts, videos, those are my go-to. But also, that's a personal preference. When you hear someone talk about the experience of reading a hard copy book, how they feel when they touch it and how they smell the paper, that kind of vibe, I always feel that's enticing. And I've always tried to do that. When I grab a book, I kind of dive into smelling it and trying to feel that experience, but I don't get it always. I feel like I'm still bored, and I don't know why. I've been trying to figure out what could be the cause of this, and I've failed. I've tried everything that I hear other people say about reading books, and that's why I took on this challenge to figure out what could be the reason or the situation that hinders me from enjoying reading books at other people. And when I was digging this, I came across something called dyslexia. So dyslexia is this disorder that is characterized by the difficulty of reading, and it was shocking. At the same time, I felt like I had dyslexia. Right from definition, it kind of spoke to me. It kind of pointed at me that I have dyslexia. And not to jump to conclusions, I decided to self-diagnose using the website I came across online. And this website has a list where they give you clear symptoms that can point out dyslexia. And right off the bat, when you look at the vote, I don't think I have dyslexia. But also I don't want to be super excited that I don't. Yet I still have the weakness of reading. And that brings me to the point of this video. I wanted to challenge myself or combat the weakness of reading, and figuring out the best way to do it was to give myself a challenge of reading a book a full hour a day for 7 days. And that I want to do with you guys. I want you to help me do this, and we will see how it goes. But the book of choice that I'm going to read in these 7 days is a book called Creative Confidence by David Carey and Tom Carey. The reason why I'm excited to read this book, because it has been seated on my shelf for a while and I've been always lagging to read it. So I want to use this opportunity to read that book because I want to have fun doing it. I hope this yields the results, and I also hope it helps me weaken the weakness of reading. And so day one, beginning day one, I don't want to complicate stuff. We just start naive and read whatever best way we can read, and maybe day two we can start putting in some tips and tricks on how to go through this book quick. But 7 days, we want to read this book in a full week, 1 hour a day. question is, how did day one go? I'll be honest, like, this was super challenging. Minus even the external challenges of like my camera battery dying, the entire experience was super boring. But I won't neglect the fact that that was a positive, impact. That this is something that is adding to my mindset. But also it's boring. Like I'll be honest, it's boring because you could see in the video that I almost looked for every posture that I can read the book in, and still I couldn't like pull focus. And even like it got me started worrying, how are we going to do this for the next 6 days? Because we have 6 days to go, and day one, this challenging. I could say like maybe it's my lack of discipline, but as we progress, maybe that could change. And where it got so much disappointing was when I spent that hour, and after like looking at the pages, I only went as far as page 3. But I hope maybe that could change. I hope that maybe my reading speed could up a little bit. But I'm not discouraged. I'll just try and see how other days go. Let's just hope for the best. Yeah. At this moment in time, it's been 3 days since we started this 7 days challenge of reading a book. And so far, I want to speak about 2 things. One, the experience of reading the book, how I feel, and 2, the book itself. For the book itself, there is much less I can speak of because I've only went few layers into the book, and I'm actually not making sense of what I'm reading. I don't know whether that's how it happens, that maybe at the end of the book, at the last pages, you get now to start understand what the author was trying to pass on you. Other than that, the experience of reading it has been so far rewarding. I think day 2 and day 3 was super fun. It's day 6 and I honestly feel like I want to recommend this book, and the truth is I've not went in depth of it. I'm only on a few layers of it. I'm just even scratching the surface, but 100% recommend it. And the reason for that is I've not met a book like this before. It's practical, that's one, and also it talks about like different corners of the world, right? It doesn't like, it's not looped in one industry or the other. It points out every individual in the world. And I'll tell you, like, if you wanted to start that project and you're scared, you have fear, whatnot, like, this is the book to read to point you in a direction. Yeah, day 7. Pretty much this is the last day of this challenge, and I think it's the last day of the week reading this book for a full hour a day. yeah, it's not the end of this journey. It's just, you know, this end in this beginning. I'm excited to see how day 7 goes. I'm amped to share my grand review of the entire experience of reading a book 1 hour a day. Yeah, I'm here to testify how is the experience of reading a book. So I'm amped to see how day 7 goes. Yeah. Thank you guys for sticking around and going through this journey with me. I've been challenged and I've been like trying always to keep up with the entire pressure of reading this book for the entire week, and I think that's the reason even this video delayed somehow, because I was planning to release it at the end of last week, but I had to fix in those hours and read the entire book without skip or maybe going for maybe less than an hour, because I wanted to benefit so much from this book. And my review, my thoughts, my key takeaway is if you want to join this challenge, the entire idea should be preference. I think you should go with a book that really interests you, because honestly this challenge is not fun. Like, you could see me maybe having fun, but the entire idea is there are some days where I felt that this is really hard and I had to keep up. I had to show up and read that hour every day. And if you ask me how do I feel about reading printout books and maybe listening to podcasts, I still think according to my timelines and how my days look, I'll still be listening to audiobooks. And this new habit of reading printout books is kind of interesting in a way, like it's hard even to put in words. I think like the best analogy that I came up with was if the entire idea is to eat fish, right? And you go buy fish from the market and one guy goes to fish it out of the water, and the entire destination is just to boil it and eat it. Like, the entire experience will be, okay, you eat it, that guy will eat it, but you'll miss out the experience of putting it out of the water. There's that like, you know, that work of sitting down and maybe like dragging it out of the water. I hope that analogy kind of like certify what I'm trying to say. But the entire idea, there is that experience, there is that nuance of like picking on words. And it's funny how like I'm a designer, but yet I've been like always typesetting and creating all these editorials, and it's hard for me to sit down and read and consume all that typography. But that side of the designer, me, enjoy the process of like seeing how amazing fonts and typography sits on paper. And I've been like super honest about like the flow of reading like word and like consuming every word as detailed as I could. Yeah, so I think the best case is I'll try this out more. I'll try to challenge myself, get into this habit of reading, because one thing that it has taught me from day 1 to day 7, I think it has showed me the power of habits, the power of like saying something and always show up, like reading that book if you say you're going to read it. And I'm actually like, I'm looking forward to do more of these, because one, they help me grow, as I said in my previous project, and on that they also help you kind of like get something from the process of we doing this kind of content. And you can let me know in the comments if you want to join the challenge, or if you want me to follow up another book read challenge. So yeah, there's a question that I've been asking myself. You guys might be interested to see how far I've gone with this book, and I wanted to show that honestly, I don't know, like I don't know if it's a common thing, but for 7 days I've only read 2 chapters, and myself, like from my own experience, that is so amazing. For a week, I swear I've been reading chapters, like I've been reading a chapter for a month, and I forget about that book, then jump to another book. And that's how I've been like reading books. But I've read 2 chapters in 1 week. That's for me award-winning. And what I would say is I might be doing another video trying to finish this book, or I'll try maybe putting some tips and tricks on how to read a book in a week. But the entire idea, I don't think it's about like finishing that book in a week's time, but it's just developing, you know, one habit, you know, after another of reading a book, because the next day you know to read fast. You guys let me know how far you go a book when you read for a week in the comment section. So I want to get myself on you guys, and then I know I'm just playing games, I'm not reading. So yeah, so that has been it, guys. Thank you for keeping around. You let me know whether this kind of content interests you in the comments, so that I can do more of this kind of content. Yeah, see you guys.